Hi, I'm Rashonda. I'm the creator of this YouTube channel as well as the artbyro.com website where you can find some additional art and drawing tutorials. In today's video, I'm going to be drawing this easy, cute, fun little sun with some sunglasses. Like I said, easy to do, great for beginners, so I hope you will follow along with me. Let's go ahead and go on over to the art studio and get started on that. Okay, in today's tutorial, I'm going to be drawing a fun little cartoon sun with some sunglasses, which of course everything's optional. So you could make your sun with sunglasses or leave them off. So I want to start by making a circle that pretty much fills up the area of my paper. And I am using an artist trading card, which I cut out of a sheet of cardstock. And I can get 10 artist trading cards out of one piece of paper. And I like this because when you're drawing in a big sketchbook, then something like this where I'm just drawing this little sun drawing, and to put that in a sketchbook is kind of random. But also, because I can put these in a binder in sleeves and make kind of a little mini portfolio. So if you are interested in learning more about artist trading cards, check out that description box, and there is a freebie in there on how to make your own artist trading cards, some ideas of things you can do, and a template on how to get 10 individual cards out of one sheet of cardstock. So the next thing I'm doing here, so I made my circle, I divided it into quarters just to make some little guides. And then I'm going to make these two triangles here, which are going to serve as his sunglasses. So he's going to have kind of some crazy sort of cool looking sunglasses. We'll give him a mouth, same thing, we'll give him kind of a stylized mouth here. We can just simplify it. Don't need to add in a ton of details. Clean up our circle a little bit. And you can use an eraser if it helps to clean up your lines and see where you're going with things. Don't worry too much about trying to get your circle to be perfect. You might end up losing interest and kind of driving yourself nuts with that. And then we're going to do these little kind of rounded triangle shapes for the little flames on the rays or whatever we want to call these. And you can change them up. They don't have to be all the same size or the exact same shape. We can make some wider, some thinner, some a little bit shorter. Right, because we want these to feel like they're dynamic. We don't want them to look like they're just sitting there, because this is a sun, so it kind of, we think about flames and fire when we think about the sun. So if that's the case, these are not going to be all exactly the same shape and size. Oftentimes when you're creating your artwork, it makes more sense to intentionally keep things uneven. And then that way you don't even have to worry about trying to keep them perfect. If you're trying to make it perfect, it's most likely not going to be. and then you're going to be struggling to do what you want to do with it. So now the next thing I want to do is outline this, and I'm also going to fill in his sunglasses with black. So I'm literally just going to trace over all of the black lines, and I'm using this pen that I got from a cheapo marker set, and I've used it once before. I've had it for a while, a couple years now, and never touched it, never even noticed it was in that set of markers because I don't really use those markers too often. Or you can use something like these Edding outlining pens. This is what I had been using, but I actually kind of like this pen, so I'm going to use this. It doesn't matter what you use. You can use a pen or a marker. But I'm going to go ahead and speed this up because it's going to get pretty boring. And I will be back with you when I have the outline done. Okay, so I got everything outlined. I have all my pencil lines erased and cleaned up. So now the next thing is to add in some color. And I mentioned this black marker that came from this little cheapy marker set. So I'm going to use these. And it's a set that came from I think like Hobby Lobby or something, some kind of a craft store. And it was a gift from somebody. And they knew I liked to use markers, and they seen them and got them for me, which was a nice gesture, but that individual isn't somebody who creates artwork, so they really didn't know that all markers are not created equally. And I usually don't use these, but I feel like this is kind of a good opportunity because I'm not going to be doing a lot of blending like I typically do in my drawings. So what I want to do with this one is I'm just going to fill in everything with the yellow as my base color, and then I'm just going to add an orange accent to it, I guess you could call it. So these markers will work, should work just fine for that. I found that when going back and forth between colors and blending them and doing layers, that these markers tend to oversaturate the paper, and then it bleeds and you get fuzzy edges. But I have found that if I'm just filling an area in and not going back over it too many times, it seems to work out okay. So I was raised not to be wasteful, so even though these markers are not the greatest, there's something in me that I can't just throw them away. I guess I could donate them, but I just try to find some uses for them. I don't know if any of you can relate to that, and I know a common theme among artists and creative type people is having a ton of art supplies, a lot of which do not get used. So you can let me know in the comments if that sounds like you. Do you have art supplies you don't use? I would say I'm a bit of a art supply hoarder, for sure. I have a whole closet full of art supplies that I have intentions for, that, you know, I'll get to it someday. I don't want to get rid of them because someday I might remember why I bought those. I'm curious, have any of you done that? Have any of you bought art supplies because you've seen something really cool on the internet and it looked like fun, so you order the stuff to do it, or you go out and buy the stuff to do it, but then you never actually get around to it, and then at some point you don't even remember what you bought those for? I know I've done that plenty of times. It's a little bit frustrating because obviously when I seen it, it inspired me in some way, and then go out and spend the money and get the stuff or order it, and by the time it arrives, you can't find the thing again. I'm sure I'm not the only one that has ever done that. So I'm just adding in some little areas of the orange. And then I'm not going to go back over this at all. I'm just going to let it have this hard edge between the yellow and the orange. Then I can go back in here, maybe add a little bit here. You can try different things, see what feels like it works for you and what doesn't. It's another reason why I like doing them on the artist trading cards, because they don't take as much time. If I'm doing a big drawing and trying to fill up a sketchbook page or a full sheet of paper, then it's going to take a lot more time for really no good reason as far as I'm concerned. I don't think there's any downside to working smaller for most things. So I'm just adding another color just to break it up a little bit. Got a lot of yellow and orange going on here, so I'll add some purple around the edges. This maybe would have been better, a lighter purple. Blends a little bit too much with the black, but that's all right. It's one of the downsides to using markers that you don't normally use. It's that when you use the same markers all the time, you kind of learn which your favorite ones are and how they look on the paper. So this one's just about done. I'm going to finish this up, and then I might add, I call this a halo. I don't know what the actual name is for it, but you can see a little bit how it bleeds where I went over it again. It makes kind of a fuzzy outline, which I don't love. I'm just gonna add a little bit on these edges just to give it a little bit more color. Fill in some of the white areas. Yeah, I might have to reconsider just ditching the cheapy markers. These are not the greatest, even with just doing one pass with them. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is add a couple little highlights with the white Jelly Roll pen in his sunglasses. And that's it. I'm going to call this guy done. This is a nice, easy beginner drawing. I think he's cute and a lot of fun to draw. And I will see you next time. Happy creating! Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and hopefully you feel inspired to make some of your own artwork. If you did enjoy the video, please hit that like button and also subscribe to get notified of future videos. But before you leave, check out the description box. That freebies in there on how to make your own artist trading cards, along with some other information. And I will see you next time. Bye!